Hi, thank you for watching Digging to China. I'm Dong Shom. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much. Years of progressing ties between Saudi Arabia and China culminated in a multiple-day state visit by Chinese President Xi Jinping to Riyadh. Xi landed on Wednesday, December 7th and departed Friday. He showcased China's value as the world's largest oil consumer and how it can contribute to the region's growth, including within fields of energy, security, and defense. During Xi's visit, Saudi Arabia and China released a nearly 4,000-word joint statement outlining their alignment on a swath of political issues and promising deeper cooperation on scores of others, from space research, digital economy, and infrastructure to Iran's nuclear program, the Yemen war, and Russia's war on Ukraine. Riyadh and Beijing were keen to show they are in agreement on most key policies. According to the report by the Saudi press agency on Friday, the Saudi national oil giant Aramco and the Shandong Energy Group said they are exploring collaboration on integrated refining and petrochemical opportunities in China. The kingdom this year already made one of its largest investments in China, with Aramco's $10 billion investment into a refinery and a petrochemical complex in China's northeast. The trip was widely viewed as yet another snub to Washington. For more than 8 decades, the US has prized its strategic alliance with Saudi Arabia. But today, its old partner is in search of new friends, particularly with China, which the US worries is expanding its sphere of influence around the world. An unwritten agreement between Saudi Arabia and the US has traditionally been an understanding that the kingdom provides oil, whereas the US provides military security and backs the kingdom in its fight against regional foes, namely Iran and its armed proxies. The kingdom has recently been keen to move away from this traditional agreement, saying that diversification is essential to Riyadh's current vision. While Saudi Arabia rejects notions of polarization or taking sides, it also showed that with China it can develop deep partnerships without the criticism or interference. Both countries sent a strong message during Xi's visit on non-interference at a time when Riyadh's relationship with Washington has been tested over human rights, energy policy, and Russia. China's growing influence in the Gulf has unnerved the United States. Deepening economic ties were touted during Xi's visit, where he was greeted with the pomp and ceremony and on Friday met with the Gulf states and attended a wider summit with leaders of Arab League countries spanning the Gulf, Levant, and Africa. At the start of Friday's talks, Prince Mohammed heralded a historic new phase of relations with China, a sharp contrast with the awkward US-Saudi meetings 5 months ago when President Joe Biden attended a smaller Arab summit in Riyadh. Saudi Arabia and its Gulf allies have defied US pressure to limit dealings with China and break with Russia over its invasion of Ukraine. Saudi Arabia tried to navigate a polarized world order focusing on national economic and security interests. Riyadh is a top oil supplier to China, and the two countries reaffirmed in a joint statement the importance of global market stability and energy collaboration. She said Beijing would continue to import large quantities of oil from Gulf Arab countries and expand imports of liquefied natural gas. She emphasized that their countries were natural partners who would cooperate further in upstream oil and gas development. One of the most sacred concepts cherished by China is the principle of non-interference in mutual affairs. It begins as the 5 principles of peaceful coexistence between China, India, and Myanmar in 1954, and it was later adopted by a number of countries that did not wish to choose between the US and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Today, Saudi Arabia is keen to adopt the concept into its political rhetoric as it walks a tightrope between its traditional Western allies, the Eastern Bloc and Russia. Not interfering in one another's internal affair presumably means not commenting on domestic policy or criticizing human rights records. The agreed principle of non-interference also means that when needed, internal affairs can be discussed privately, but not postured upon publicly. This is one of the key hurdles complicating Saudi Arabia's relationship with the US and other Western powers. This was most notable over the killing of Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi, the Yemen war, and the kingdom's oil policy, which US politicians accused Riyadh of weaponizing to side with Russia in its war on Ukraine. Beijing has been lobbying for use of its yuan currency in trade instead of the US dollar. China would also make full use of the Shanghai Petroleum and the National Gas Exchange as a platform to carry out the yuan settlement of oil and gas trade, Xi said during his visit. Any move by Saudi Arabia to ditch the dollar in its oil trade would be a seismic political move, which Riyadh had previously threatened in the face of possible US legislation exposing OPEC members to antitrust lawsuits. The move would bring China closer to its goal of internationally strengthening its currency and would greatly weaken the US dollar and potentially impact the American economy. Analysts see the decision as a logical development in China and Saudi Arabia's energy relationship, but say it will probably take more time. A Saudi source speaking before Xi's visit told Reuters that a decision to sell small amounts of oil in yuan to China could make sense in order to pay Chinese imports directly, but it is not yet the right time. Most of Saudi Arabia's assets and reserves are in dollars, including more than $120 billion of US treasuries that Riyadh holds, and the Saudi currency rial is pegged to the dollar. The US has been fairly quiet in its response to Xi's visit. While comments were minimal, some speculate there is heightened anxiety behind closed doors. Thank you for watching. Please leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. Just click the subscribe button right here. I'll see you again shortly. Until then, be well.